to Zoom and didn't register in with us beforehand, if you would email to bobby@mychamber.org, Bobby, B-O-B-B-Y, @mychamber.org, and then we can go ahead and be able to send out the link on this videoing of what's going to be shared today. As well, it will be on next week's e-blast, so if you have any information or you want to check out what we're doing, be sure and sign up on our website at mychamber.org to get our weekly email blasts. With that, I'm going to go ahead at this time. I'm going to introduce our chairman of the board, Mr. Don Williamson, who will take over and run the meeting. Don?
Thank you, Bobby. First off, I want to thank everyone for attending this meeting. We try to be a good resource of information here, and I think, judging by the number of people who keep coming back, it's not for our pretty faces, because I think you are getting something out of this, and that's something the Chamber is continuing to strive to do, is to be a resource to help everybody be prosperous during these very trying times. These are really confusing days. We keep hearing conflicting information and attempts to get back going, and we're different than the rest of the country, and I'm happy to say that we have the Chamber here that's kind of a clearinghouse for answering questions. So keep that in mind. Our staff is ready and able and willing and on the phone with us, and they're doing a great job to that end. We have Zoom meetings all week long, and if you looked at some of the slides that went on before we started here, and Bobby's going to recap some of them at the end. So we do have a lot of Zoom meetings just like this one. So keep up to date with what's going on with the Chamber, and take advantage of the information that we provide, again, during these crazy days. At this time, I'd like to talk about FLAG, which is Frontline Frontline Appreciation Group. It's headed by Mary Barnett, and she was the founder of a business called Another Brilliant Idea. And working with the Corona Chamber Foundation, she's raised a lot of money to support and help and give meals to those on the front line that continue to work or are in service to all of us. You can make a donation to her. They've brought meals into the hospitals. They brought meals to the ambulance workers. I believe there's some retail establishments that they've also shown the appreciation of the community for those that continue to work. So you can donate at Venmo, PayPal, Give Big Corona, or write a check to the Corona Chamber Foundation, which you can mail or drop off at the Chamber itself if you're so inclined. There's more information on Facebook and also on the Chamber website. Tomorrow, March 14th, at about 1 o'clock, we're going to have a flyover from March Air Force Base to show the appreciation for the same people that the flag group was showing the appreciation for. There's going to be a KC-135 and a C-17 that's going to fly over the Corona Regional Hospital area, as well as the community. And we can go down there. We're asking that we come down and to be part of that in the parking lot of the library, the Corona Library, which is on the corner of 8th and Bell Streets. If we get there about 12:45, the people from the hospital will come by and see if you want to make cards and flags and really show some enthusiasm and support, and kind of make this a patriotic event that, here we are, our country remains and our community remains strong, and pushing back we best we can over the adversity that has confronted us at this time. So again, that'll be about 12:45 tomorrow in the parking lot of the Corona Library, and we want those healthcare workers to really know how much we appreciate what they do for us. One of the most valuable things that we do, in my opinion, here at the Chamber is our advocacy outreach. And during the past couple months, we've really, again, this is what helps us be the resource that you can depend on, because we have people who are on the front lines of information. And our representative that we have on our team, I'm going to introduce him right now. And he keeps us informed of both Sacramento and Washington, D.C., as well as anything that goes on local. And at this time, I would like to give the time to Jeff Gibson for a brief update. Jeff.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate that. So to pick up on Don addressing the confusing times that we live in, our governor last week about this time talked about schools opening in July. Schools this week have moved away from that. Not blaming the governor for that, but there's going to be a lot of information that continues to come out this week. On Monday, Cal OSHA promulgated about 19 pages of rules for restaurants considering reopening. Most of those, according to a legal analysis that I was a part of, they didn't have a legal right to ask for, but that doesn't mean that they aren't proposing them in regulation. And unfortunately, what would normally be a public process of having us petition and go meet with Cal OSHA is really up to the governor to decide. Obviously, we have a right to come back on through courts to ask, but it would add 30 to 40% to the operating bottom line in costs to respond to each of these new rules. So that's in process. About this week, about this time last week, the governor issued his executive order on workman's comp, and which I don't know if any of you have, I'm sure you guys have been considering this, but according to the governor's own guidelines, so the rule is if anyone involved in any business caught C-19 on or around or since March 4th and had any connection to their workplace, that they could claim up to 100% benefits. In it, that the defense would be up to the employer as opposed to the employee. The governor, in his signing message, claimed that it would have an impact of anywhere from $6 billion higher than the funding of the entire system to $30 billion. So, and of course, the system goes upside down if you hit 100%. So the goal is to always keep money in the system. 100% of the governor's range of economic impact show that the workers' comp system is going to be bankrupt within the next 60 days. So there's going to have to be, obviously that's not going to be the case. So there's going to have to be some negotiation within the system, which obviously can be confusing. So the advice would be continue your plans and continue working on this, because none of this is set in stone. The state legislature, the governor spoke, and a number of people spoke for a number of weeks about needing rent relief. And the first bill that the legislature actually moved away from in emergency session was a rent relief bill. So AB 288 was set aside permanently. It may come back in another form, and we're watching that. It would require residential property owners to provide a 25% rate relief cap for renters. So, so finally, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, the state budget, which is pegged to be in $54.6 billion out of balance, and $50 billion out of balance next year, and upwards of $50 billion a year after that. The May revise is due this week, and this week there are a number of different audits that are coming out. So we will be reporting those to you as they come in. So happy to take any questions. Or
Jeff, thank you very much. Desiree, do we have any questions for Jeff?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. So
Jeff,
there was a question in chat from Mike Ryan on, is that for the state fund? Yes. Yes, it's for the entire system. The governor is looking at a demand on the system that is at the low range is 30% higher than all premiums paid in, and at the high range is 300% higher. And that's in the next 60 days. So the governor's order lasts for 60 days. The assumption is that there's an almost identical bill going through the state legislature in which he would then obviously sign that would make that change permanent. But that's part of the legislative negotiation that's going on. So that is a big change. The agreed with the next one that from whoever sent that from my phone, that yes, that under this circumstance, it's difficult to say how that won't. Hi, Mike. So just to provide one last final part of the thinking, you may have seen that the governor indicated that he was going to, and he actually went ahead with an executive order that all ballots in the November election be sent out by mail. The only way that he has the legal right to do that, because under the state constitution, the legislature sets the rules for elections, is if there is an emergency order that stretches until November. So that kind of gives you an idea of an unfortunate preview of kind of where some of the thinking is in the state capitol on how long this is going to be going. But in any case.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, Jeff. I apologize. I meant to tell you that Desiree will be asking the questions because not everyone is able to see the chat room. And then. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
No worries. No worries, Jeff. And it wasn't pointed at you. It's for future speakers as well. Donnie, it's back to you.
Okay. That was Jeff Gibson with Occidental Communication Group. Thank you very much, Jeff. And at this time, we would like you to please welcome our supervisor representing our area, and that is time for Karen Spiegel. Hello, Karen. If Karen's not here, we'll go to the Director of Emergency Management for Riverside County.
I believe she's on.
Okay.
Am I on? Can
yes,
you
you
hear
are.
me?
Yes,
Oh.
you're fine.
Okay. For some people in California, it's a great day. They're beginning the phasing of opening. For Riverside County, we are making every attempt. So rest assured, businesses, that we are trying to convince the governor for the opening. He gave us criteria over the last couple of weeks. We're trying to meet that. We have some really stark challenges, but he also really talked about regional variances. And so what we did, as many of you know, we have the Economic Development Task Force, a Recovery Task Force, and that is many groups represented throughout the county, and Bobby Spiegel is on that, representing the Corona Chamber, as well as many others. And at the same time, we have within our county a red team, which is a few of our county executives trying to focus and working between the red team and the county. We put together a reopening and recovery framework. It went to the board yesterday and was approved. We are submitting that to the governor, asking for a variance. And at the same time, we are partnering with many of the counties here in Southern California. We have San Bernardino definitely on board. We're working with Orange County, San Diego, as well as Ventura, trying to get a regional voice because they are also in some of the same situation as us. One of the criteria we're having a challenge, and Bruce will probably get into it, and that is we're supposed to have 14 days of zero deaths as well as 14 days of a specific increase in our testing. We are the largest per capita testing in any of the 58 counties in in all of California. With that being said, we're going to have more positive because we are also testing with asymptomatic. So with that, I'm going to lead this right into Bruce Barton, our EMD.
Good morning. Thank you, Supervisor. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a little light on your talk, so either get closer to the mic or scream.
Okay, I will try to speak up.
Thank you.
Just real quickly, the numbers I'll go through, which we've all are getting used to hearing all these numbers, but I'm going to start off with, we have 2,911 that have recovered from COVID-19. So this is the hallmark to there is life after COVID. That represents more than half of the known cases in Riverside County. That case count now stands at 5,248, 256 of which are in Corona. The deaths are at 225, 8 of which are in the city of Corona. Where we are right now, most operationally in the EOC and as the county, our hospital bed utilization remains between 60 and 65% of capacity. That's good news and bad news. The good news is we're not experiencing the surge that we have talked about, but there is now and has been for a while pretty serious economic impact to the hospitals because of the volume being down. We're in a much different place than we were forecast to be 2 months ago when we started up that trend line of COVID cases in Riverside County. Ventilator utilization is at 25%. ICU capacity is now running around 90%, and that is probably going to go up because hospitals are returning to elective surgeries, some of which end up having complications and take up ICU beds. However, the trends for COVID patients in the hospitals continue to move positively downward as far as how many patients that they are seeing. We continue to have impacts in our skilled nursing and assisted living facilities. We have over 500 patients that are ill with COVID in skilled nursing facilities, over 200 staff. So that continues to be an operational focus for us, and our outreach and support teams and quick response force. These are teams that we put in the field to assist skilled nursing facilities to make them more resilient should they have the introduction of COVID, either in their patient population or in their staffing population. The county is assisting them. We have expanded that to a number of homeless shelters because we want to make sure it would be definitely a problem if we had COVID outbreaks in those homeless shelters. So we continue to work with them, particularly on PPE and the good cleaning methods and how to segregate sick versus not sick should that happen. And this outreach for skilled nursing facilities is going to be part of the landscape for us even after the pandemic is over. We continue to support 2 federal medical stations, one in Riverside and one in Indio. They do not have patients in them and have not had for quite a while. As a matter of fact, the Riverside Medical Station has never seen patients. So in the next couple of weeks, we will be making a decision on whether we will continue to have those in place or whether we will demobilize those and work with the state on going through that process. Testing capacity continues to increase. We have the 4 sites that we had stood up and have been running throughout this incident. We have added 8 additional sites in partnership with the state and are currently working on 4 additional sites to give us a total of 16 sites that will be stood up. That becomes important when we look at our readiness and reopening framework that was approved by the board yesterday. I will jump right into that. So everybody, as the supervisor said, the board did take a leadership role in moving the county forward under the local variance, which is allowed under the governor's resiliency roadmap framework. We believe that we are in good position for most of the requirements within that local variance, and there are 2 that are problematic. No deaths within 14 days. Realistically, no urban county can meet that requirement. And to not have more than 1 new case per 10,000, which is about 250 for the county of Riverside over a 14-day period, that is also not realistic for an urban county. The rest of the requirements are related to testing capacity, contact tracing, healthcare surge capacity, protecting vulnerable populations, and triggers for modifying our movement forward if we start to see negative trends. The proposal that you saw the board approve yesterday provides it basically is an application that now goes up to the California Department of Public Health. Our public health department will have a conversation with them. They will consider Riverside County's application to move forward at an accelerated pace. There will probably be, the way that will work is we'll go back and forth. They'll say, okay, these parts look good. We want you to beef this part up or put more, put some more detail in a certain area. And then that will, we are optimistic that we will be able to move that forward, and we will keep you informed on that. The metrics that are within that plan are not based upon what the state the governor has laid out as far as the 14 days of no deaths or the 14 days not more than 250. It more looks at aligning with the federal metrics, which are trends, which we have positive trends across the board, which is one of the things that makes us optimistic that the state will be receptive to our application. So that ends the county report, but I can take any questions should anybody have any questions.
Thank you, Supervisor Spiegel and Mr. Barton. I know we have some questions. Desiree, could you forward those to the group, please?
Sure. First one, on COVID tests, what percentage of tests come back as negative?
So I don't know that number right off the top of my head. I can look at that. I know that our positivity rate has been trending around between 6 and 11% in the charts that I've seen, but I will bring that number back and be prepared to report on that next week.
Okay. Thank you. The next one is, can we encourage the county to advocate for statistics to report in total, but break out our homeless, undocumented, prison/jails, and skilled nursing homes? In fairness, guidelines for all don't always work.
Okay, so was that question metrics for tracking COVID positivity, or I'm not
Yes.
sure I followed the question.
Yeah, COVID testing positives and deaths.
Okay, I don't know that we track it all that way. I do think there are some metrics for the jails, but I can take that back as well.
Okay, yeah, so that leads into another question someone else had. How many COVID deaths are from nursing homes and jails and other institutions? So I'm thinking they're looking for a breakdown of like how many of these positives and deaths have come from jails, nursing homes, itemized out.
Right, so I can take that back to the public health department. As the director of the EOC, I don't see the data broken down that way, so I can't answer that question, but I can definitely take it back to Kim and Dr. Kaiser and ask if it can be broken down that way.
I will share real quickly is that there have been only 2 deaths of inmates in all the jails. But there is a high number of deaths in our SNF, in our skilled nursing facilities. So Bruce, if you could take that back, but I know people ask about the jails. We have had a lot of cases of positive COVID in the jails, but the deaths have been 2. And then of course the 2 deputies, one that was in the jail and one that was not.
Thank you, Supervisor Spiegel. Bruce, another question is, are we looking to expand testing?
Yeah, as I mentioned, we are looking to expand testing. We have the 4 sites we've been running, the 8 additional from the state, and we're looking to stand up 4 more county sponsored. The metric in the governor's variance criteria for Riverside County would be a capacity to test 3,750 a day. Right now, our current capacity is about 3,200, so we are looking to add. I will tell you, one of the challenges that I know the health department was working on yesterday is we have more capacity than we are having people sign up to get tested. And we're trying to look at what we can do countywide messaging to try to bolster people to come in and do testing. But the feeling is that there's going to have to be a much more robust information campaign to get people to come in. Some of the sites registration, they showed it to me yesterday, are looking like 5 and 10% of their targeted daily volume they'd like to hit is all they're getting through registration. So that is problematic.
Gotcha. Next question is, what can nonprofit sports related businesses do to help the effort?
I'm sorry, if that was for me, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, it's for you. What can nonprofit sports related businesses do to help the effort?
Well, one of the things we're always looking for is anybody that has any source of personal protective equipment. If there are any manufacturers out there or nonprofit organizations that can give us any leads, we're always looking for that. We've been really challenged in working with some of the vendors on the large buys, so we've kind of adopted our philosophy. We'll buy in small batches anywhere we can, or anybody that can point us in that right direction. We can always use that kind of help. Also, I can provide the situation summary that we send out every day if they want to make donations. We do have a donations management branch here in the EOC that they can make donations to.
Thank you. And then the last question, if you can clarify, or if this is for Supervisor Spiegel, are masks still mandatory? Just give an update on what the supervisors passed.
Okay, we were doing this to align us with the state so that when during this transition that it would make it a lot easier. What the one of the ones specifically was about the masks. Although we have now not made it mandatory, we are strongly encouraging masks. Businesses, we encourage for their employees and if need be for their customers you can mandate masks. People expect that. You go to other counties that don't have mask mandates, they still have masks in the businesses. So I've been recommending people to just carry a mask with you. You may or may not need it depending on where you're going, but masks are still strongly recommended, as well as the social distancing. But the other ones were the golf courses and rentals. What we did not do was fully rescind the schools. They were having a challenge, the K through 12, with parents not understanding that school would still be out for the remainder of the year. So for the perception of those, we left that in place. We did eliminate higher education and vocational schools so that those can continue on if they choose to start back when it's okay.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Spiegel. Mr. Barton, we really appreciate your time and the information today. At this time, we would like to turn the microphone over to the mayor of the city of Corona, Jim Steiner.
And mute, Jim. We'll bring Jim back. Are you there, Jim? Let's bring him back. We'll skip to the next one.
At this time, we would like to introduce and listen to a presentation from our feature speaker, and that is Captain Khary Hembree-Bey. Captain Bey is from the East Coast, and hopefully he's enjoying his time here in California. He is the commanding officer for the Naval Surface Warfare Center. Please welcome Captain Hembree-Bey.
Don, thank you for those kind words, and Bobby and Don, the rest of the chamber, Secretary, Supervisor Spiegel, and the mayor. I think he's having problems with the mute, but thanks to all for the leadership being demonstrated within the area, within the Inland Empire, across Corona and the county. It's truly great to be part of such a team, and thank you for giving me some time to talk a little bit about some things about COVID and what we're doing with COVID, but more importantly, making some great announcements as we transition or we continue to shift. And your Navy base is here and is going to expand during this time frame. So good morning to the chamber, and it's again nice to be here, at least virtually. Look forward to being in person like we were in February. So Naval Surface Warfare Center Corona, we're still hard at work executing the mission every day. Today and tomorrow, our doors have remained open throughout, just a little bit different. And that talk of masks, yes, if you find yourself on the Navy base, you're wearing a mask. The work we do cannot stop, will not stop. The work we do cannot stop in defense of the nation, and it will not stop. As we work remotely with some of our disciplines, and certain disciplines are being done on site. It's important to note that we are still providing the full range of support. The Navy and the nation depend on us, and all of our employees are still on the clock, making incredible contributions. And we are still a COVID-free workforce, as best of our knowledge, with all the testing that's being incurred. and hopefully we stay that way. The health and safety of our workforce is my first priority. It continues to be my first priority. And those who must go on base are adhering to safety protocols like wearing masks alongside neighbors like you and supporting the warfighter and the military day in and day out. As some of you may know, the biggest thing we're going to talk about today and NSWC Corona is now home to the new Inland Empire Tech Bridge. That's a big announcement. We're again home as the new Inland Empire Tech Bridge. Secretary Gertz, ASNRDA, officially announced our designation on Tuesday to the press and the public. So this is finally, tech basically is finally out of the bag. What I've been alluding to since February about us being named a tech bridge is definitely, we have been announced as a tech bridge, and it goes along with our SBIR announcement, a small business initiative, a small business announcement. If you want to watch the virtual announcement that he did yesterday, it's on our social media page under NAVSEA Corona. I can't tell you how excited we are to be part of the Naval X and Tech Bridge infrastructure. The big news for local economy and our Inland Empire businesses, it's just huge news. It allows for non-traditional partners and our traditional partners to streamline, remove the barriers that may have been in place before. And it comes with resources. And it really shows you don't get to be a tech bridge or become a tech bridge unless we already have some infrastructure in place, some strong community involvement in place, strong education partnership in place. The designation of an Inland Empire Tech Bridge is to show that we showed when he came out as Assistant Secretary of the Navy, and the Tech Bridge team came out, they showed that we are that, that Riverside County, Corona, Norco, and all in the area is that innovative ecosystem already exists, and this is going to help further enhance that. So everything we do at NSWC Corona is in support of the nation's warfighters, as I've discussed. Our vision moving forward is to optimize decision-making for warfighting and fleet readiness. The Inland Empire Tech Bridge will help support that. For that focus and concentration on data analytics and visualization, network data environments and measurement technologies. Troy Clarke and Jennifer Stewart will have more details on this key areas in just a few moments, and we'll also talk about the SBIR. I think part of what makes the opportunity so exciting is that we are so well positioned to work with the great local businesses, academia, and other innovative partners in Corona across the Inland Empire to develop the types of dual-use solutions that are really going to mold us into a faster, more capable force in defense of the nation. And the innovation ecosystem that surrounds our installation is pretty remarkable, as mentioned. Our relations with you have made all the difference, so thank you very much for the Chamber's leadership and all those on the line. I mentioned to you all before at breakfast in February that I wanted to reemphasize this is an Inland Empire Tech Bridge. It's not just a Navy, yes, it's powered by Naval X, yes, we're bringing it to it, but it is an Inland Empire Tech Bridge, and you see the logo in front of you. And we hope to see it displayed in prominence in many areas within the Inland Empire, and hopefully you'll see it on the Navy base here shortly. The Naval X, the Navy organization overseeing the Tech Bridge infrastructure, has a close relationship with the Office of Naval Research to provide programming to help support small businesses. And as we know, in the face of the economic struggles many are facing as a result of COVID-19, this surely could not have come at a better time. In less than 9 months, the Tech Bridge Network has connected more than $42 million in funding to programs identified at individual tech bridges like the one we have now. And that was when we were only 6 tech bridges. Now that we are 12, as of Tuesday's announcement, imagine what those numbers could look like moving forward. I'm excited to see what it needs for the team Inland Empire and our partners. So to conclude, before I pass it off the mic to Troy, who is our Tech Bridge Director, this Inland Empire Tech Bridge destination will unlock some important resources and serve as a super connector to drive innovation at the speed of relevance. For the Navy side of the house, that means creating real fast and innovative solutions into the hands of warfighters where it matters most. For our partners in the community, it means incredible business and technology transfer opportunities that will help us continue to drive the region's reputation and economy as a true innovation hub. Between the great businesses in our community and the resources this announcement brings, we've got all the tools we need to hit this one out of the park. And I'm very much looking forward to this incredible opportunity and advancements we're going to share. Opportunities that are for the Inland Empire to show what it can do. And it was because the Inland Empire was able to demonstrate those close business ties between the community, leadership within the community, the businesses in the community, and all working for one goal, to enhance the region and to show what we can do as a team moving forward. So with that, Troy, over to you for additional comments.
All right, thank you, Captain. Bobby, am I coming through? All right, you're on mute. Okay.
You are.
All right, great. Thank you, Captain. Really appreciate that. I want to let you know that had it not been for the strong support from the captain and our technical director, this would not have been possible. This is really a major step for our region, for our Navy base. It's incredible. As the captain said, we're executing our mission today. We continue to do that. We gauge the warfighting capability of the Navy, and we've been doing that by providing transparency to warfighting readiness, using data analytics, assessment. You've heard us talk about that in the past. Engineering the fleet's live virtual constructive training environment and assuring the accuracy of measurements. We've been doing that since 1964. With our mission there at Corona. And you know, January 26th, when we talked to the Chamber Board, we talked to Corona Rotary, January 26th marked the 10th anniversary that we were declared as a federal lab. And that gives you important legal distinctions that allows you to gauge in many of those initiatives that the captain talked about, building that strong partnership with our regional innovation ecosystem. And what that does is it sets us up for the future. And so that we can continue to execute our mission for tomorrow. And that's where the Inland Empire Tech Bridge comes in. And Jennifer Stewart's going to talk a little bit about what those authorities give us, the technology transfer authorities, the small business innovative research authorities. But what the Tech Bridge in the Naval Agility Office, Naval X, what it did is it brings all these legal authorities that Congress has given us under this banner of the Naval X and then Tech Bridge, and its purpose is really to drive acquisition agility and decrease the long-term cost to government in an ever-changing operational environment. So it's been an incredible opportunity for us, and it really is going to connect the Navy challenges with innovative solutions. And the vision for the Tech Bridge is to be a super connector. So connecting us with those non-traditional partners, and those would be partners that haven't done business with the DoD in a year. So startups, entrepreneurs, and really tapping into this innovation ecosystem that may be lying dormant and not necessarily working with the DoD because it's this daunting, big, highly regulated environment. So Congress has given these authorities to lower that barrier of connection with us. And the Tech Bridges and Naval X work closely with ONR and the Small Business Innovative Research Program. And ultimately, what the goal is to look for dual use innovation, to get technology transitioned to the warfighter, and then get technology transferred to industry. Some of you might have been part of our 2014 patent licensing agreement. It was the first patent cross-licensing agreement in the history of the Navy, and it's there with a company that relocated its headquarters in Norco. So a lot of this, as the captain was talking about, we can leverage this to not only get technology and innovation into the hands of the warfighters, but get it into commercial industry so we can build our local economy. And that technology, that powerhouse, that innovation hub, can really transform our region. And as the captain said, this is the Inland Empire Tech Bridge. We are going to span both counties, both Riverside County, San Bernardino County. We have some amazing research universities in our region, many of them right there in Riverside. But it's just an immense opportunity. And as the captain mentioned, we're going to focus on 3 key technical areas that leverage our technical capability, and that's data analytics and visualization. And that speaks to our expertise in performance and readiness assessment. And then the networked data environments, that speaks to our live virtual constructive training and expertise. And that's actually a good point to mention. Today is Top Gun Day, May 13th, and we are the engine behind Top Gun. So Corona is instrumenting all the Navy and Marine Corps ranges that allow those pilots to train, let them know how they did so they can get better and become top guns. And then measurement technology. Many of you have probably visited our measurement science and technology lab, but we are keeping pace with emerging weapon systems and leveraging our capability to drive that home. So why don't I turn it over to Jennifer, who's going to talk about the federal lab authorities, what we've done so far, and then what we're going to do and under the umbrella of the Inland Empire Tech Bridge. Jennifer?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, CEO and Troy, our Tech Bridge Director, for those opening remarks. And I'm just going to touch on technology transfer at a higher level and how it's going to support our Tech Bridge efforts. So Corona Division, we're really eager, as you can tell, to continue our technology transfer mission by engaging within the fence our internal scientists and engineers who reside within our labs, and we want to bridge the divide with our partners for collaboration outside our lab. There's several types of collaborative agreements that we can use to connect with industry and academia. All of these agreements are supported by congressional legislation that came out of the 1980s. And it's really technology legislation that we can make broader use of and better use of. Our collaboration with you as a business or as a nonprofit organization or an academic partner, it may look something like this. Corona Division mission-driven innovation from our scientists and engineers often results in an issued patent. We then market and promote that patent as available for licensing through our TechBridge channel. A business of any size, including a startup, that's interested in both licensing our patent as well as continuing to collaborate further on developing that technology to serve dual-use applications, meaning that the company will provide both a Department of Defense and a private sector technology solution. I, as Corona Division's Technology Transfer Manager, will work with you in navigating these agreements, which are much more agile as compared to traditional contracting methods. As a result, we will have a win-win where mission-driven innovation supports our Navy mission and the private sector. One of the most common success stories of the tech transfer process that I think we are all familiar with is the example of our smartphones. You know, 90% of what makes our smartphones smart was either funded by or developed by your federal labs in partnership with industry. In fact, I think we all are familiar with GPS, and the origins of that is our Navy with NAVSEA. And so it's a wonderful example of that mission-driven innovation creating such a huge impact for both our military, but for each and every one of us. And this leads me to talk a little bit about technology-based economic development, which is also known as TBED for those in the economic development field. Now, what is TBED? What is technology-based economic development? We are competing in a global economy. Regions must have an economic base composed of firms that constantly innovate and maximize the use of technology in our workplaces. Technology-based economic development is the approach that we use to help create a climate where this economic base can thrive. Now, what does that mean to us? What is required for a technology-based economy? If we look at a TBED-based economy like Silicon Valley, the following elements are really what is required. One, a research base that generates new knowledge. Our Inland Empire region has that both with our research universities as well as your Navy and Norco. Two, mechanisms for transferring that knowledge to the marketplace. This is tech bridge. This is tech transfer and tech transition. Three, an entrepreneurial culture. As we've seen throughout our region in managing COVID and these new realities that we're living under, how better are we demonstrating how entrepreneurial and forward-leaning we are in terms of innovation and adjusting rapidly and being agile within our culture? Next, we need sources of risk capital. and finally, a technically skilled workforce. So having a Naval X Tech Bridge in our region for the Inland Empire will assist us in uniting all the great sources that we have now to grow our TBED activities and successes for our future. Thank you everyone for your time.
And I'll close it out with the chamber. So I know with the announcement of the tech bridge is something big for the region, something big for the Inland Empire, something big for NSWC Corona. And I know in these uncertain times that can sometimes be challenging, thinking why are we thinking tech bridge and other innovative things when we should all be focused and concentrating on COVID. Well, I'll tell you, the military is trained to operate in an uncertain environment during conflicts and wars. We'll continue to operate as we can't let the enemy may have a vote. In this case, the enemy is a virus that will continue to operate, and keeping safety and security of our workforce is first and foremost in my mind, but we're going to continue to operate, and it will be a day when this all shall pass. So with that, we are continuing executing at the speed 5 times and 10 times faster. We have not lost the eye on what we're doing and what we continue to do to move the ball forward, get better at what we do, and support and sustain our mission and execute our mission every day. So I do appreciate, I'll end this with the way I started this. I appreciate the Chamber's leadership throughout this whole pandemic. Your Navy and Norco continues to be a leader within that community. We've supported everything from supporting the local prison with some designs for some face shields, to helping the Marines at Camp Pendleton and the hospital with some respirator equipment that they needed. So as a lab, we have the ability and capability to do research and provide designs for things. So as mentioned, one of the speakers mentioned earlier, if there was a need or capacity, well, you can always through FEMA, contact through FEMA our support services, and we can do that. And there's ways we can do that to support our local region, and we have done that. So with that, it's a great day for the Inland Empire as we move out into the Tech Bridge, great day for NAVSEA and Warfare Center Corona, and a great day to be in the Navy. So thank you.
Thank you, Captain. And as always, I just want you to know that you have the backing of the Corona Chamber of Commerce. You personally, thank you for your service and for all the successful that you have in your mission here in support of our country. Also, thank you to Troy and Jennifer. And at this time, Desiree, do we have any questions?
There are no questions. And Mayor Steiner is ready to speak next.
Right. Okay.
Before we do that, Troy, can you just touch on this next slide that we have about the seminar?
Absolutely. So as part of our ongoing outreach under the Tech Bridge banner, we're going to be holding a lunch and learn this 12 today, 12:05, where we're going to have a panel. They're going to talk. It's going to include Jennifer Stewart. It's going to include Julie Padilla from the Procurement Technical Assistance Center and Martin Kleckner from UC Riverside's small business unit there. Going to talk about the upcoming opportunities where local companies can apply for the Small Business Innovative Research grant opportunities that are out there right now, and one that's coming up right around the corner. So we're going to connect you with the people that you need to, if you're interested, can connect and submit a proposal.
Thank you, sir.
And
Desiree
today is May 13th, so that is today, everyone. Okay, thank you again. And so now Mayor Steiner.
Hello, everybody. I apologize for that earlier glitch. I thought I had Zoom figured out, but what I learned today is you have to or you can't unmute yourself while you have the chat box open, or at least I couldn't figure that out. Anyways, the city is continuing to work behind the scenes with Supervisor Spiegel, the Riverside County mayors, our state legislators, the League of Cities, and our Chamber of Commerce to get our region back to work as soon as possible. I spoke with Assembly Member Cervantes and Senator Roth's office this morning again, just to stress the urgency of finding that balance to reopening our community while at the same time keeping our citizens safe. I truly believe there is a balance there that we can get to. While the lower risk businesses are opening under the governor's stage 2 directives, we need a strong message to get the word out to our citizens so that they feel safe patronizing these businesses. And I'll be discussing with Bobby in more detail, but just how to ramp up our communication and collaboration even further between the city council and our business community. And then from our economic development department, we are continuing to encourage our business community to apply for federal funding as rumors of the next big wave of the CARES Act stimulus have begun. And for businesses who are in desperate need of emergency funding, the city has shared information of private low interest lending through AMPAC for restart loans of $15,000 to $30,000. And Ryan Cortez is the person you want to contact if you have any more specifics on that. He's actually on this call too, if you have any questions for him right now. That completes my update.
Thank you, Mayor. Desiree, do we have any questions for Mayor Steiner?
Not at this time.
Okay. Thank you again to all of our participants today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for being here. We'll be doing this again next Wednesday at 10 a.m. We would like to invite you to attend again at that time. With that, I will turn it over to our President and CEO, Bobby Spiegel.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you so much. It is almost afternoon, so my apologies. I'm not rushing it, but I did want to just go to the two slides that I want to talk about real quick. Is the Good Morning Corona. We've got an opportunity to be with Good Morning Corona with Mike Hestron, our district attorney, and he is going to be sharing with us on Friday. We'd like you to register. If you can go to that link there and register for that. And then the next slide is, I know there's many people here that are on our call that may not be connected directly with our Chamber of Commerce. We're regional. We allow members to join anytime after, from whatever community. And we'd love to have Robert be able to be contacted. So Desiree's got that information up on the screen. If you're not a member yet, no problem whatsoever. Robert Wynez can be able to help us and help you find the solution of what you're looking for. With that, I just want to say thank you again to all the speakers, the presenters. You guys have a great day, and we'll be on the call next Wednesday at 10 a.m.